Okay, so welcome everyone to the Canadian Immigrant Web Conference series organized in partnership with Access Employment. We are thrilled to have all of you join us for this industry-specific web conference for internationally educated banking and finance professionals. So if you're unable to attend the entire session, and this will be recorded and posted on our website, so you can watch it later, or you can share it with your friends and colleagues. So let me introduce myself. I'm Ramya Ramanathan. I'm the editor of Canadian Immigrant, and I'm joined by my colleagues Laura Jackman and Sanjay Agnihotri. So during this three-part web conference, we're happy to invite our speakers from Access Employment, RBC, and Costi Immigrant Services. Before we start our sessions with our speakers, we have a short video to share from one of our sponsors, Western Union, who supports Canadian Immigrant and allows us to run these free events and webinars for newcomers across the country. So my colleague Laura will be playing that short video, and then we'll get started. Thank you, Laura. Thank you for that. So we'll get started. We are thrilled to have with us from Access our first speaker, Kok Fan and Sol Kano, to speak on the Financial Services and Leadership Connections Bridging Programs. Welcome to both of you. Looking at storytelling for job search purposes, interview skills, networking, and how the program can help with that. So Kok is the Program Manager, Financial Services and Leadership Connections with Access, and Sol is Project Manager en Français Programs at Access. So if you have any questions for Kok or Sol, please feel free to type them in the chat or in the Q&A box, or you can email us at info@canadianimmigrant.ca. We're monitoring the account as as the event goes ahead. So thank you both for joining us today, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Ramya. We are both very excited to be here today and kind of speak with everyone. So thank you everybody for logging in and spending the hour and a half with all of us to kind of learn about how we can support you to find employment in your area. So first, I'd like to kind of share my screen and our presentation here. And we are going to go ahead and go through kind of the services here at Access. Hopefully everyone can see our screen. So let's start with that. So I just want to quickly just talk a little bit about Access Employment and the services that we provide. So here's kind of like the rundown of what's going on. So we're going to talk about Access. We're going to get into some points on how to succeed in finding employment. And then we're going to learn about the bridging programs that myself and Sol manage to be able to help internationally trained professionals that are looking for work in the banking and finance industry. And then we'll have a QA to help answer any questions. And again, please drop them in the QA section and chat, and Laura will be able to kindly ask us towards the end. So a little bit about Access. So Access is a fully inclusive labor force that reflects the diversity, skills, and experience of Canada's population. As you know, coming here, we are soon going to be the majority of the population here in Canada. So we also want to make sure that employers are starting to recognize that and be able to kind of work together and work collaboratively. Our mission is to assist job seekers from diverse backgrounds who are facing barriers to employment integrate into the Canadian job market. We achieve this by providing employment services, linking employers to skilled people, and build strong networking collaboration with our community partners. So we have lots of great employer connections, work well with the community, and we're trying to build that, bridge that talent to help them succeed in their organization and help you get started in your career here in Canada. So quickly here, just some of the programs and services that we do offer, and I'm going to highlight a couple of them for you. We do have our main Employment Ontario job search for anybody that is looking for employment. We help with one-on-one, providing you with employment counseling. We do have mentoring support here with our programs. Basically, it's an opportunity for you to be able to connect with industry leaders, help support you and guide you through your journey in finding employment in the banking and finance area. We also have a program for those individuals here or may know somebody who would be interested in opening a business and how to get started. And we do have several programs in that area. We have some programs for women who are going back into the field workforce or women who are looking for work in the technology space. So you can find more information on our website. We also have programs to kind of help with language and communication to help you improve on your communication skills, as it's such a fundamental skill set to have in all your career, learning how to present confidently your ideas to employers. We also have youth programs just for those that have children or know many that could be referred to learn a little bit more about some programs and services here. And then we also have some online and pre-arrival services that's available. One of the things that Access is really known for is our bridging programs, and we have a wide range of bridging programs that are sector specific. They are working with employment coaches who have industry specific knowledge to kind of help you, support you to get back into those industries. A little bit later today, Sol and myself, we will be talking a little bit about the financial services connections, the financial services connections en français, and the leadership connections program here, as they are geared towards the banking and financial services area. Okay, so let's get to some of the advice. One of the things that we always talk about to our clients when they are looking for employment is do your Canadian research. I think that's so important. First, it's really to kind of understand your role in your market, the market here in Canada, and how you fit in terms of your skill sets to best match. I think that's really important before we start talking to individuals and meet with employers, because I feel sometimes based on their history or what they have done or what they think is easiest, they always talk about going into those junior entry level roles. And that may not be required of you if you come with extensive experience. We want to make sure that you are integrated into a level area which more or less aligns to your background. We usually say maybe one step below the position, only for you to understand a little bit more about the roles before we move up the ranks in the organization. So first, understand your role and your the market, and that's really important. The second tip that I'd like to kind of provide here is know the Canadian vocabulary and terminology for your industry. It is so important for each and every one of you to understand what you'll have to do, explain it in a Canadian context, understand the vocabulary so that everybody here understands what you are referring to. And this is one way to help you overcome that barrier that we hear as newcomers, is that Canadian experience. One of the things I really like to say is I've been, helping internationally trained professionals for over 16 years. And I think the messaging is, as a newcomer, I just want to enter the market. Well, I'm going to give you a different perspective here. What I want to kind of showcase to you is really, I want you to think, how can you show to the employer that you belong in this market? And that's where this research is really fundamental to your success, because you get to know what your role is going to be. You're going to know what the vocabulary, you're going to know what areas you'll need to succeed. And from that, the employers may feel that you have a good grasp of the role and the work. And you do. You have the experience, you have the skills from where you're from in the organizations you worked in the past, and it'll be a very easy transition. We just need to learn how to communicate that to the employer. And then lastly, it is very important for you to understand the credentials and knowledge for your area. I think it's really, really important, and take a look at only taking certification and courses that are in line to your job goal and how it makes sense. The reason being is if we take a wrong course, there will be a lot of confusion based on your resume, based on your job goal, and based on the certification. They may not understand what is your overall outcome or goal in the future. And from that, they may be hesitant to then maybe interview us. So it is important to align and research those before we go and meet with employers or communicate that to employers. So those are the 3 tips that I want to kind of provide to you in terms of researching the Canadian industry here to make sure that you can present yourself the best way and match your experience to the role here in Canada. The next thing I'd like to kind of talk about is really get help from the employment service agencies like Access Employment. I think it's so valuable to get somebody who is kind of your coach and is in your corner to give you that feedback you need to support you. One of the things that we look at when we are providing support is looking at resumes and how do we target the resume accordingly? How do we really match that to tailor it to match the role so that when employers look at the resume, they see an easy fit from your skills and your experience to what they need the individual to do on their team. And the best way is to go through the coaches and employment consultants out there to be able to make sure that you're on that right track. The second thing is interview practice and interview feedback is so important in terms of your success. I hear newcomers talk about all the time that when they get an interview, they're excited not only because of an opportunity, but they're also excited because this is an opportunity for them to practice their interview skills. And when I hear that, I always say, it's great that we're having that opportunity to be able to speak to employers, but this may not be the best place to practice our interview skills. I think the best place to practice our interview skills is with those employment coaches, because then there's nothing on the line. And they'll give you genuine feedback to help you present or structure your answers or help you come up with examples that will wow the employer. So I think it's so important to be able to get that practice and get that help beforehand. Because when an employer is interviewing you, from their perspective, they're wanting to hire you. They saw something on the resume, they see something in your experience or your skill sets, and they say, I want to hire you. This is not an opportunity to practice. This is an opportunity to take advantage of this opportunity to land that job and get that support from the employment consultants. Lastly, networking connections. It is so important nowadays to be able to build that network here in the Canadian market. We're fortunate here at Access that we have all the great banks and employers on our side that can help connect you to somebody in the industry, whether it's from speed mentoring to mentoring partnership program over at Triac. We are able to kind of help you connect to those opportunities, to those contacts, so that you can learn from them, help them understand. But not only that, we also help you understand the process of networking so that you have the information on how to build those relationships, how to ask those questions, how to learn from the person in front of you to build that relationship so that you can be able to present your skills and experience to be able to move on and make those connections that will eventually lead to opportunities. So hopefully those are some good tips that will be able to help support you there. The next thing I'd like to kind of talk about is our bridging program. So these bridging programs are sector specific, full-time, and it's an ability to be able to help you be able to showcase your skills, experience, and learn how to go about finding employment in the area. So I'll talk a little bit about the Financial Service Connections program here. It is a 6-week program, Monday to Friday, and it is held virtually. This is for internationally trained professionals who are looking for work in the banking and finance area. We work with the Toronto Metropolitan University, formerly known as Ryerson University. where we work on the workplace culture and communication. That really helps you get a sense that once you find that employment, how to interact with your coworkers, how to ask for help, how to get coaching from your manager, having those difficult conversations, right? I think those are things we need, but we don't maybe know how to start. And Ryerson, the Toronto Metropolitan University provides that support. We also have the Canadian economy, which helps give you a perspective of what's happening and what trends are happening here in Canada to give you some Canadian knowledge and perspective, and also links on how you can continue to be updated so that you are fully aware to help you in your role here in Canada. We also have pre and post hire support, and usually that means is that once you have found employment, we are also there to be able to help you should you have some challenges at the workplace or have conflict with either your coworker or your manager's not seeing in the light, and how to be able to progress in your career. Here we'd be able to provide you with that support and guidance through our coach and help structure that and facilitate that learning so that you're able to overcome those challenges. We also have critical thinking and problem solving skills workshop. I think this workshop is very important to be able to help you think about the future. So not only are we getting that job, but how do we critically think of like what the next steps are? How do things relate to each other? Because employers are not just looking at someone to do the current job, they're looking at the employer to figure out, okay, well, how can they continue to help and grow this role and this department to the best of its ability and help the organization overall. So we provide that workshop and context. And of course, we have those employer connections, guest speakers, alumni, pitch panel, where you get an opportunity to be able to meet with employers and conduct your elevator pitch. We have the speed mentoring, as well as the mentoring partnership program through TRIAC. We have job fairs from employers and recruitment events from employers as well in the banking and finance industry. And of course, we provide that job search support, helping you with tailoring your resume, preparing your interviews, helping you with your video interview. That is a new trend, so how to best showcase that, as well as your LinkedIn profile, how to build your brand, how to get known on LinkedIn so that recruiters and employers are able to see you, as well as networking and understand the Canadian culture. So all this is within 6 weeks, so it's intensive, and we also provide you that support after the program until you succeed in finding that employment here in the Canadian market. So there is a program fee. The program fee is $500 plus HST, which works out to $565. This program is fully reimbursable through the Ontario Bridging Participant Assistance Program. And I'll pass it over to Sol to talk a little bit about her program, the en français, financial service en français.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I am thrilled to be here, and I'll talk a little bit about the Financial Services Connections en français program that Access offers. It is focused on Francophone internationally trained professionals that have a background in the financial sector, or would like to start and have a change of career once in Canada in the financial sector. There are a lot of similarities with the Financial Services Connection, but I am going to just point out a few differences. The length of the program is different. We have a 5-week program. It is also held online. It is a full-time, so usually between 9:30, 10 a.m. until 3:30, 4 p.m. every day. And it is focused on Ontario residents. Our academic partner is College Boreal as a bilingual university, and we offer a workplace culture and communication course that takes 2.5 weeks out of those 5 that is delivered by College Boreal. The aspects of the Canadian financial sector and the Canadian economy, they're all just about the same. And as well, the components of the program include employer connections, speed mentoring sessions, guest speakers, a lot of workshops for job search, resume writing, cover letter, interview preparation, mocking interviews. A lot of them participants let us know, okay, well, I have an interview in a week. Would you prepare me? So we prepare them and we practice them. And I would like to echo something that Kwok said at the beginning of the presentation. An invitation for an interview is not an opportunity to practice. It is not to see what it is out there and how it is done. You have to practice beforehand, use the services available, use the different tools that the employment agencies offer. It is something to take advantage of for sure. The program fee is the same, and it is also, the participants are also eligible to a full reimbursement through the OBTPAP. Next, I think it is back to you, Kwok, for eligibility, I believe.
Okay, so we'll just talk quickly about the Leadership Connections program. We have another component, a big brother to the financial service in the en français. It is called the Leadership Connections program. The context is very similar. It's just that this program is for those that are looking for senior level roles. So head of departments, managers, VPs, executives that are working in the finance, IT, and management consulting area. The only difference you see here is going to be Humber College is our academic partner, and they provide critical aspects of leading and managing in the Canadian context and in the digital talent. So that's the only difference. And again, it is for those that are looking for managerial roles, VP roles, departments who have that experience. Let's go over to the program eligibility. So both the financial service and financial service en français have very similar. It is internationally trained professionals, bachelor in business or related field, no relevant Canadian experience here in Canada. And then for the financial services, a COB level 8 or 7 in there. And then we're open to the Canadian citizen, permanent residents, convention refugee claimant, and people with work permit of at least 1 year. And the eligibility there is a 1 year experience outside of Canada. So if you want to kind of provide anything different for the en français program. Yeah, I think it's fairly similar and to that. The Leadership Connections program, again, very similar to what I've mentioned here, but 2 years experience outside of Canada. Majority of it will have to be in kind of management, department head, VP type of roles. An MBA or master's is preferred, and focusing on more IT, project managers, and finance. So here we have the different start dates. I'm not going to read them out. You can find them more on the link when access employment, and you can go to the various different program pages of the Financial Service Connections, Leadership Connections, and the En Français program. This is for people who live in Ontario, as we are funded by the government of Ontario to support you there. Okay, I think this comes to our Q&A section of the presentation.
Thank you so much, Kwok and Sol. That was great.
Hi, sorry, Ramya, I think you're on mute.
Hi, sorry about that. Okay. So thank you, Kwok and Sol, for walking us through your programs in great detail. That's a lot of relevant information. So the one thing, the question that's been coming in is, will this be recorded? Yes, this is being recorded. This will be on our website and on our YouTube channel. So if you're, if you need to take a break, this is being recorded. So the other question that is coming is, a lot of people are asking if the programs are available online, and if they're available if they're outside Ontario.
Yeah, so our program is available online. It is for Ontario residents. If you are outside of Ontario, we recommend that you please look at the employment programs that are provided by their prospective governments, as they're there to be able to help support you. Feel free to reach out to us here at Access so that we can provide to those organizations as well that is able to support you. And for those that are also outside of Ontario, we do have online services that would be able to provide you there in terms of workshops, webinars, employer events, as well as articles. So you can visit our website and look at the e-access for that additional information.
Okay, so just to confirm, if I'm outside the province, I can still access your online services.
That's correct.
Okay, perfect. And I know that you have a lot of pre-arrival programs as well. We usually have a number of people signing in from overseas for these sessions. So that is also an important component of your offerings. Is that correct? Yeah.
That's correct, Ramya. We actually have a specific program called the Canadian Employer Connections, CEC. It is to those people who are overseas that just got their acceptance to come over to Canada. And we can help you prepare with lots of workshops and help you assign you an employment consultant to be able to get you started in the various different industries here in Canada to get you a good foundation so that when you land, you can already start hitting the ground running with your application. So thank you for that. We also have a program to help for those that are also interested in coming to Canada and looking to start their business. We also have that as a pre-arrival program as well.
That's fabulous. Another question is IELTS and CLB compulsory in order to take these programs?
For the Financial Service and Leadership Connections program, we do need a requirement of a CLB equivalent of a CLB 7 and 8 and the corresponding IELTS in relation to that. So yes, we do need that. You can get the CLB assessment here in Ontario, and I would imagine at the other respective provinces as well.
Mm-hmm. There's another question that says, so how can we find out when the program start dates are? You did share a screen, right?
I do. So let me bring that back up. So here are the different start dates for the rest of the year. And again, this will be on our website as well.
And it will be in our recorded presentation. So you can go back, watch the entire thing. The next question is, do you assist with CSI certificates?
So, well, one of the main components of our Financial Service Connections is we provide the mutual fund license and other CSI courses, so Canadian Securities courses. One of them may be the Canadian Securities course, dependent on your job goal in relation to what you're looking for. And again, that is on a case-by-case basis.
Okay, great. So I think we'll send. Would you kindly share your contact screen again right there? Okay, so folks, if we haven't gotten to your questions, just email Kwak or Sol. Their contact is right here, and they will answer your questions.
Thank you,
this
Ramya.
is just, yeah. Thank you, Sol. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much.
That was a fabulous presentation with a lot of great information. So next up to join us on the Canadian Immigrant Web Conference Series for internationally trained banking and finance professionals, held in partnership with Access Employment, we have Amit Brahme. So Amit is the head of newcomer and cultural client segment at RBC. So he's an immigrant himself and has over 20 plus years of experience in banking, technology, manufacturing, and educational sectors. And he is currently responsible for the growth of new to Canada client segment at RBC. So it's fabulous that you could make time. Amit, I know you've been traveling and you have a lot of other commitments. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting me, Ramya. It's always a pleasure to come to a forum where I can help fellow newcomers to Canada, because I lived that journey not too long back. So thank you for inviting me.
Would you like to start off by sharing your personal journey of how you found career success in the banking sector and what your key learnings have been from this journey?
Of course. So for the benefit of everyone, I decided to immigrate to Canada in around year 2001, and took about 5 years of waiting to get that welcome to Canada email from Immigration Canada. So it was 4 years of anxiety. Will I get it? Will I not get it? When will I get it? What can I prepare while I'm still in my home country? And 2005 July is when I landed, and I shared this that though my approval came in around the month of March, the common advice was, you've never seen snow. You should not go to this country when it's winter. Wait till it's summer and then you should go. So I took that advice and booked my tickets for July. That's when I came to Canada. I had prior banking work experience. I come from India, but coming to Canada, it was learning, a lot of learning. I entered a phase that now I can refer to in a very funny way. I entered a phase where I call apply, no reply, because I would see a job posting. I'm like, yes, I've got this experience. I would apply, and then crickets. I would not hear anything. And the same thing would happen every day. And I'm like, what am I missing? How do I go about telling somebody that I do have the banking knowledge or the banking experience? So I'm very happy to share that experience, and I'm hoping that everybody on this call can benefit from it. Couple of things that I learned that I'll share in a sequential manner. One, do a lot of research online, and what I mean by that is, if you hear the statement of our premier, 380,000 jobs are waiting to be filled in Ontario alone. 380,000, right? And these are all skilled jobs requiring across all sectors. If you're in banking and finance, and if you just go on any of the bank's site and type jobs available in Canada, and I did that just before I came on this call, there are about 680 jobs for RBC, 990 jobs for TD, and I can go so on and so on. That means there are a lot of jobs. If I just take the banking sector, if I add the insurance sector, if I add the fintech, there are a lot of jobs over here. So don't be discouraged. Spend time in research. And what do I mean by research? You probably have some work experience or professional experience while you're still in your home country, or maybe you've just landed in the country and now you want to make a career in finance. Look at what your experience is. Look at what is it that you would qualify for as you start going the job description. I've also met different types of newcomers who come to the country and say, well, I had my entire career in retail and banking. I now want to try another aspect, which means you want to position yourself as transferable skills. So let's start with that homework. And that homework means going on different websites and reading job descriptions that you come across. Read as many job descriptions as you can, because that's the first learning that I had. What is known as in your home country might be referred to in a different word in Canada. And I'll give you an example. I come from India. Over there, when we keep deposit in a fixed term, it's known as fixed deposits. Well, in Canada, they don't use the term fixed deposit. They call it GIC. In India, when you meet somebody who is your manager, it's called a relationship manager. Well, in Canada, that term is account manager. So there are a lot of such nuances. So don't get discouraged when you read the terms and you're like, oh, is this something new? do a bit of research, and you would realize that you probably already have that experience, already have that skill. It's just known with a different word in Canada. So that's what I mean when you do your research, when you read all those job descriptions, that's what you want to find out. What is it called in Canada? And where does this help? Well, then that exact word or phrase needs to go in your cover letter or your resume. Because somebody who's going to pick up your resume has been in Canada. They probably are looking at resumes of people from Colombia and Latin America and India and Bangladesh and China and Vietnam. The easier it is for them to understand what you bring to the table, the easier it becomes for your application to get picked up. And also, because you are coming into the country to make your professional career over here, you just want to understand what words are being represented here, which is good not only in the immediate term, but also in the long term. So when you are doing that research, have that position in your mind that, okay, I'm not just finding jobs, I'm also reading job descriptions. I'm also linking it back to my experience. I'm going to reflect it in my cover letter. I'm going to reflect it in my resume. And I'm also going to use it in my vocabulary. That means when I'm in front of a person, whether it is Access, whether it is a hiring manager, whether it is my interviewer, I'm going to use the same words and phrases which local Canadians use for that product, that service, that skill, that function, that area. That's one thing that I would encourage as part of your preparation. The second thing that I would encourage as part of your preparation, and I do educate this when I meet some newcomers, if you want to describe something which is data or currency, please convert that to Canadian currency so that somebody who's reading it understands what this means, right? Whoever is reading does not have the time and the luxury of reading your currency, converting that to Canadian, then figuring out what that means. Is this big? Is this small? So just take that care that you are making your resume or you're making your cover letter for the reader. The easier it is for the reader to understand who you are, what skills you bring, the better it is for you to position. The second thing that I would give is when you want to prepare for your interviews. Now, before I start that advice, any company, any job, when somebody is hiring an employee, they're essentially looking for three things. One, that you can do this job because that's something that you'll be doing day in, day out. Second, that you can work well with people because we don't live on an island. You will be working with different people, either as part of this team or interacting with partners across the organization. So the second skill that whoever hires you will look for, are you a team player? How do you work with teams? Can you coordinate? And so on and so forth. And then the third thing, anybody who wants to hire you will look for some personal leadership qualities. Are you resourceful? Do you take initiative? If you don't know something, do you take the initiative to find out how that thing works? Are you somebody who enjoys taking responsibility? Are you result oriented? Are you bringing things to life? Are you completing the job on time? And so on and so forth. Which means three things. One, I can do this job. Two, I work well with people. Three, I have some personal leadership qualities which will be immensely beneficial for your organization, for your team, for your function, for your department. So as you prepare for the interview, try and see how you can impress the other person on these three aspects. So these skills helped me come out of that apply, no reply phase and find a job and land in RBC. So I'll probably pause there. I hope this was helpful, and over to you, Ramya.
Thank you so much, Amit. It's fabulous that you always are so open to sharing your experience. And one thing that I'm going to bring up is I've heard this, that a lot of agencies, when you talk about terminology, using the right terminology, I've heard that a lot of organizations use AI, to screen applications because there's so many applications, they just look for those words. And I'm not sure, but that's also another aspect that I've heard. But I'm not sure how frequently it's used in the banking and finance sector.
No, you're really right. If you have a job and if hundreds and thousands of people apply for it, it's physically impossible for an HR person to read each and every resume. So there is some screening that takes place where they look for those keywords and phrases to pull up those applications which closely fit what is in the job description. So you're really right over there.
Okay, thank you so much. And I'm going to jump to the second question. Where would you say are opportunities today for those who are seeking jobs in the finance and banking sector? It's a very broad question, but if you could, talk about where the opportunities are, that would be great.
Oh, absolutely. So for those in the finance industry and the banking space, you will find a lot of jobs in what is known in Canada as retail, which means the branch network. There are a lot of advisors that are required in the branch network. These could be client-facing roles, or these could also be roles where you are only interacting with partners. Majority of the banks and majority of the finance companies have spread their network of branches and offices across Canada. And there is always a need for hiring people, those who are new to the country, because when you hire a newcomers are essentially interacting with newcomers. So there's that immediate sense of understanding that gets built in when you have a newcomer who is helping a newcomer for your financial product. They have the right language skills. They represent the culture of different countries that are people from different countries who are coming to Canada. So it makes a lot of sense for business to hire newcomers, train them. A bulk of the jobs come in what is known as the branch network or the retail. Next set of client-facing roles are in what is known as commercial. And then over the last many years, since COVID especially, a lot of advancement has taken place in digital, which is where many jobs which might sound technical or for IT professionals are actually in the banking and finance sector. We all knew that for about 3 years of our lives, we were all interacting with each other online. And there was a big leap that took place in terms of technology, with many companies adopting that and trying to make everything digital. Prior to COVID, it was quite normal for somebody to visit a branch, meet a person, and fulfill that. Post-COVID, the expectation has become, can I do it online? Can I do it on my phone? Which means a lot of investment has gone across the banking sector into investments in technology. So you will also find large number of jobs which are for technology pieces, because the banks are really ramping up their investments. So these are the broad segments. In addition to that, if you have come with wealth management experience, those areas are growing too. If you have come with project management experience, those areas are growing too. And in any of these websites, whether it's the bank's website or others, you will always have a filter of specific areas within the banking and finance industry. So I will encourage everybody to make use of those filters so that you can be as targeted to what you're looking for.
Thank you, Amit. And, I don't know if you've seen our latest issue of the magazine. It's online. On the cover, every April, we have the Women of Inspiration issue, and we actually have an RBC employee who is in the East Coast and New Brunswick. Yay. So, Amit, I don't know if you've seen that issue, but so what I'm trying to say is there are opportunities and they're across the country. So don't just focus on, Don't just focus on the GTA. I think people have a lot more options if they're spreading their search across the country.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then I think if you go outside of the GTA, probably your cost of living would be cheaper, and your ability to find a house and accommodation might be slightly easier compared to the GTA.
Great. Thank you so much for that. A lot of great information. So Amit, you talked about your journey. You have an MBA in finance from India, and from Pune, India. So knowing that, you've gone through this journey yourself, what would you say about international qualifications? Are they recognized? And is there a need to do any continuing education courses?
Great question, because this is one area where there is a lot of advice that is given, or a lot of advice that floats around, and sometimes most of that confuses somebody who's new in the country. oh, I just met somebody who said do this course, and I met somebody else who said there's no need to do this course. What do I need to do? Because you are in a very anxious and concerned state of mind. You've left your comfort zone, your home country. You've come to a new country, and you want to make it big. You want to be successful. You want to land in the same profession that you want. And when you get conflicting advice, it really, makes you even more anxious. So my guiding principle over here is, as you are looking at the job descriptions, every job description will have a section on what are the educational qualifications required. In those job descriptions, if you find that there are specific certificates that are mentioned because maybe you want to go and sell mutual funds, maybe you want to apply to be a project manager, if there are certain specific certifications that are mentioned, and if these are consistent across the various banks or industry, then definitely it means that you need to have that certification, because probably legally for you to be able to give advice on mutual funds, you need to be certified to understand certain things. So do that work effort in the beginning, because then it's a clear indicator that yes, I need to have this certificate. If across the research you find that it is not required, and the qualifications that are mentioned is something that you have from your home country and you have a knowledge of that industry, absolutely be confident and go ahead, because that's what I did. When I got my first job in the banking space, I got it on the strength of the fact that I have the right education from my home country and I understand things about banking because I have work experience from my home country. Yes, I did have to translate that work experience. I did not use Indian rupees, I used Canadian dollars. I had to use the right terms to help them understand what my role, what my position, what my responsibility, what did I achieve. That definitely I had to translate to make it easier for somebody here to understand. But my first job came on the strength of my education and experience from my home country. Why? Because I had applied for a job which did not ask for any specific certification. But if you are in that space, you want to sell insurance, well, you'll probably have to go through Rebo. You want to sell a mutual fund, you'll probably have to have that certification.
Okay.
So don't go on hearsay. You go on what the job requirement is in that app, in the job posting.
And
Sorry,
there's
Ramya.
also I cut you off there. So there's also the equivalency certification, right? Did you do any of that to say that your MBA in India is also considered in Canada?
No, I didn't have to do anything, any of those. But there's one thing that I would definitely encourage every listener. Go for certification which adds value to you and your profession, right? So you would still continue to invest in education. These could be specific courses, these could be certification courses, because you know that it will add value to your profession, to who you are. So I have seen many people who have done courses even after they have landed into a job. Why? Because they know that this will help me advance my career. This will help me add a skill. And a very common certification that many people that I know, even on my team, have done is understanding about data, is understanding about insights using data. Why? Because our jobs today, a lot depends on understanding data, interpreting data, understanding insights. And I see that that probably is not core to the profession that you have, the certification that you have done, but helps you become a better professional. So have that outlook of finding courses that make you a better professional.
Thank you for that. Very comprehensive. So you've been offering a lot of advice based on your own personal experience and as head of the newcomer segment at RBC. So in terms of, we're talking in terms of finding jobs, but do you have any advice in terms of career progression opportunities? Because there are a number of folks here who are already in the banking sector and who are looking to grow in their careers.
Great question. So my first question to anybody who is in the banking sector right now and wants to advance in their career is, what are you known as? After you have left the meeting room, what will your colleagues describe you as? Will they describe you as somebody who is amazing at their work? Will they describe you as a leader who inspires? Will you describe you as somebody who takes the responsibility and finishes the job? Or will they describe you somebody who loves coffee and only meets me at the coffee table? Like, what are they going to describe you as? Because that is what you are known as in your company. So if your partners, your colleagues, your managers, we view you as somebody who is responsible, who can lead a team, inspire people, does not fight with partners, gets the job done, knows how to figure things out, well, then that is your brand that you built on the basis of who you are. Realize that when we come new in the country, when we start our job in an organization, we have this wonderful opportunity of starting with a clean slate. And our actions, our interactions within the company, our ability to carry a job responsibly, to achieve for the team, to achieve as an individual, to achieve for the department, is what other people are going to view us as. So that is table stakes. Because if somebody wants to advance in the career, no organization is going to promote somebody who does not have the qualities that the organization embodies. Right? So first step, if you are in the job, if you are in a company, understand what is the DNA required in that company to be successful. Do you have it? Do you display it? Is that displayed in your work? Do you take pride of what goes off your desk? Because if that's not being focused on, no amount of advice that I or somebody else gives you is going to help you. So step one, whoever you are, whatever you do, how are you known as by your colleagues, your partners, your peers, your managers? If you've got that, now how good are you compared to the other four who also have it? And what is it that you are doing to ensure that you are at the top? And over here comes a very nice conundrum, right? Because many a times people want to shift from one department to the other, and they say, well, how do I do that? Well, that's where the growth is happening. My general advice for you would be, have this metric of 50, 30, 20. Whenever you're looking for a job inside your company, go by 50, 30, 20. What is 50, 30, 20? Well, whatever job I'm applying for, I think I know 50% of how to do it. There's 30% that I learn. I have heard about it. I know what it is. I've never done it, but I will learn and quickly master it. And what's the other 20%? I have no clue. It scares me, because that's where growth is going to happen. 50%, well, you know the job 50%. So if you get it, you know that the first 90 days, you can at least do 50% of the work. The first 90 days, you will learn the 30%. So you are 80% productive. And that 20% which was scaring you no longer scares you. But that's where growth is going to happen. That is my formula. I hope it becomes your formula and works for you.
Thank you so much. That's great advice. I'm going to write this down as well. Okay. So we have a number of questions coming in, Amit. Is there something else you'd like to talk about before we go to the questions?
No, in the interest of time, let's jump to the questions.
Okay. So do you have any top level advice to help my resume stand out for the applicants to get an in-person interview? I guess they're asking, are there any tips to have the resume stand out?
Okay, couple of things. Make it readable. Don't use a very small font that is difficult for the reader. Don't use too big a font. So I think Arial 12 or Calibri 11 are kind of good fonts. So these are just from a design perspective, right? Because you want to, as I mentioned earlier, make it easier for the reader to understand who you are, what you bring to the table. Second, it's not very common in Canada to have phone, a photo, or marriage status, or those details, or date of birth. Well, probably it might be in your home country, but over here, that's something which is not essential. And so ensure that you move that and use the space judiciously. If you are coming with work experience, then I have two tips for you. Whatever work that you have done, whatever role that you had in your home country, distinguish it into two aspects. One, what were you responsible for? And second, what did you achieve? So it means, okay, I was designing widgets. My responsibility was designing widgets, and I achieved the maximum number of widgets that anybody ever had done. Make that distinction, because it tells the reader, okay, now it's very clear for me to understand what you were responsible for, but you went over and above your responsibility and you achieved something. So make that distinction so it's easier for your reader to understand what you really bring to the table.
Thank you. And the next question is, what are the usual timelines of hiring? Very broad.
This is really dependent on the hiring team. There could be a situation where there's a project running and they really need that project manager and they need that person as of yesterday. So they might run the entire process very quickly. Or there might be a situation where an employee wants to go on a maternity leave and then you have the luxury of a month to complete the hiring process because you want to hire the right person who's fit for the role. So it really depends on what is the urgency factor at the other end. But typically, you would always have an HR person who would see that the applications are fit for that opening. You will probably have a couple of rounds of interview, which is the hiring manager or a panel or team members, because every organization, because they're investing so much time and effort, they don't want to do it again. They want to find the right candidate. And there's some internal pieces, which is scheduling time across different people to ensure that all the resumes are addressed and people are met and so on and so forth. So there's no one answer to this. It would vary from industry, job, location, urgency, and so on and so forth. But the process will always be followed with respect to application, HR, and then the hiring manager, and then it's possibly a couple of rounds or panels.
Thank you. And will references from overseas work? So I guess if they're starting a job here, applying for a job.
So references, again, depending on the kind of job that you do, references are essential and they probably are requested once you have landed in the job. So if I give you my case, I was new in the country. I got my first job with RBC. After they had told me that, yes, you are the selected candidate. Now, please provide us 2 references from your home country. Give us their details because we want to reach out to them. That does happen, but it depends on the job. But it only happens after they've selected the candidate, and it's like the last step. They're not going to do it for everybody. Remember, they have to go through that process. They're really judicious about doing it just for the top candidates or the selected candidates.
Okay. So this is a long question. I'm looking for a full-time job, but you mentioned contracts. Should I accept contracts?
If your savings are completely depleting, go for whatever you can get because cash flow is important. If you have the luxury of waiting and going for the right type of job that you are looking for, go for it. If the contract job is something that gets you excited, that you want to wake up every day at 8 a.m., catch the train, catch the bus, go do the job, go for it. It's nothing to do with contract and full-time. So really ask yourself, am I going to reject a job just because it's contract, or am I going to reject a job because it's not in line with the skills I have and where I want to be and the position that I think I will be in? So don't reject it just because it's contract or full-time, because essentially when you do a job, it's to showcase that your skills, your knowledge, your education is all coming to the benefit of an organization and they see value in you, which is why they're paying you. Don't make contract or full-time as a criteria to reject. Sometimes it's important because maybe savings have depleted and you've been searching for a job for some time. So weigh in those factors. But my advice would be, is the job exciting you to wake up every morning and go and contribute? If yes, if it's contract, so be it.
Great advice. So I'm just going to shoot two last questions, like really quickly, because we're running out of time. One is there a website you recommend to find banking jobs within Canada? LinkedIn, or is there another banking specific site?
All the banks have a career site on their pages, so go through that. You could go through any of the aggregators like Indeed, because everybody picks in those jobs.
Okay, great. And can people connect with people in the bank? Are you open to connecting with our viewers on LinkedIn? I guess, Amit, you can just see if you want to share your email or another contact for RBC, but that's the question.
Feel free to connect with me with LinkedIn, but tomorrow if suddenly 200 people connect with me and everybody wants 10 minutes, it's going to be difficult for me. So please also acknowledge that fact that I'm just one human being, but please feel free to connect. I'll try my best to help, but just like you, I too am a human being.
Thank you. That was a great presentation, and thank you for being willing to connect. I don't know how I would have answered that question. So thanks again, Amit. Thanks for your time, and thanks for always being willing to work with the Canadian Immigrant. So if you have
absolutely.
any questions, yeah, okay, great. So if you have any further questions for Amit, just send us an email at info@canadianimmigrant.ca and we'll forward it on to him. Okay, so thanks again, Amit.
Thank you, Ramya. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. So our final speaker for the day at the Canadian Immigrant Web Conference Series for internationally trained banking and finance professionals is Miranda Buffalo. Welcome, Miranda.
Thank you.
So,
thank you very much.
A little about you. Miranda has over 25 years of experience in adult education and employment services, with a focus on assisting newcomers to Canada in reaching their professional goals. She is currently the manager of enhanced language training at Costi Immigrant Services. So once again, if you have questions for Miranda, send it to us, email, chat box, and we'll ask her questions after the presentation. So Miranda, thank you so much. Please go ahead.
Wonderful, thank you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to begin by sharing my screen. So let me share my screen. Wonderful. Can everyone see my screen? Yes?
Yes.
Yes, perfect, wonderful. So I'm going to begin. Let me just start. So good afternoon, everyone. And thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for attending today's presentation. My name is Miranda Buffalo, and I am the manager of the Enhanced Language Training Programs in Brampton, Ontario, Canada. I have over 25 years of experience in adult education and employment services, with a focus on assisting newcomers to Canada in reaching their professional goals. Today, I will be providing you with information on Costi's Enhanced Language Training Program for internationally trained individuals in the banking and finance sector. I'm going to begin today's presentation with some information about Costi. Meeting the needs of a diverse society since 1952, Costi is a community-based multicultural agency providing employment, educational, settlement, and social services to all immigrant communities, new Canadians, Canadian citizens, refugees, and individuals in need of assistance, including children, youth, adults, and senior citizens. Costi operates from 19 locations in Toronto, Peel Region, and York Region, and provides services in more than 70 languages. The next 3 slides will provide you, I will be providing you with a brief overview of the current settlement landscape in Canada and the province of Ontario. There are over 900 settlement serving agencies in Canada, 240 OCASI member agencies in Ontario, and 15 of these agencies provide both refugee and settlement services. In the last 20 years, there has been increased growth of ethno-specific and multi-service agencies, with new agencies entering the settlement market annually. In 2021 to 2022, the federal government invested $1.7 billion in settlement and integration services, of which $407.2 million was invested in Ontario. The per capita allocation for Ontario is approximately $3,000. Under its immigration plans, the federal government is planning for 460,000 new immigrants each year, with the largest segment being economic immigrants and family class. The Ontario base allocation is planned to increase by 9.9% in 2022 to 2023, and by 3.5% in 2023 to 2024, with $447 million and $463 million invested respectively. Other funding priorities include a new focus on marginalized and vulnerable women and children, vulnerable women and girls, and distributing immigrants across the country. The government has announced increased funding to meet the labor shortage need and to upskill marginalized and newcomer workers. The GTA, so the Greater Toronto Area, and Ontario continue to be desirable destination for newcomers who are attracted to employment opportunities and to the large number of ethno-specific communities and markets who can offer supports and services. Immigrants make up the largest share of the population in Ontario in almost 150 years. 23% of the population are immigrants, and they are the largest source of population growth in Ontario. Ontario receives about 45 to 55% of immigrants to Canada, with the Greater Toronto Area welcoming 77% of immigrants. I will now provide you with information on Costy's experience delivering the Enhanced Language Training Program. As you may know, internationally experienced and educated professionals frequently face challenges navigating the Canadian job market and establishing themselves professionally in Canada. This is where programs like Costy's Enhanced Language Training Program can help immigrants find employment in their profession or in their related fields. In the following slides, I will look at how enrolling in Costy's Enhanced Language Training Program can help newcomers on their path to employment. Costy has been delivering the Enhanced Language Training Program since 2007. It is funded by the federal government, by IRCC, and annually, it serves over 400 internationally trained professionals. With the help of Costy's Enhanced Language Training Program, banking and finance professionals who settle in Ontario can find employment that matches their education, training, and experience acquired internationally. Costy's ELT program was instrumental in helping Lakhvinder secure a job in the banking sector in Canada. The program taught her important skills such as language competency, personal growth, resume writing, and interview preparation. Through the program, Lakhvinder also gained insights into the Canadian job market and expanded her professional network, which proved to be invaluable to her job search. Because of the program's effectiveness, Lakhvinder received 3 job offers and ultimately chose to work as a banking advisor at RBC. This positive outcome demonstrates the significance that the role that Costy's Enhanced Language Training Program can play in assisting newcomers like Lakhvinder in achieving their career goals. Furthermore, her success story serves as an inspiration to other immigrants who face similar challenges while trying to establish their careers in Canada. With the right support and guidance from programs like Costy's ELT program, newcomers can not only adapt to their new environment, but can also thrive professionally, ultimately contributing to the growth and diversity of the Canadian workforce. We will now look at the program's eligibility requirements. So services are available to individuals who have acquired professional qualifications and experience outside of Canada and who have been unable to access employment in their field of expertise. Individuals must be able to communicate an advanced level of English and have occupational training and experience in their respective profession. Participants must be permanent residents, conventional refugees, or individuals on a minister's permit. Participants must also undergo a language assessment to test for Canadian Language Benchmark 6 or higher. The ELT program aims to provide instruction and workplace orientation to facilitate integration into the workplace through the following program components: assessment, orientation, in-class business language instruction, Canadian workplace culture, online specific terminology, pre-employment preparation workshops, both in class and online, and work placement opportunities. As you may or may not be aware, English language barriers are one of the most significant challenges that newcomers experience when looking for employment. The ELT program is designed to improve your English language skills so that you can communicate successfully in your professional field. In the program, you will learn about the Canadian workplace, including culture, expressions, values, communication, nonverbal, verbal, and written, and other topics. The program includes sector-specific language instruction to help you better comprehend the vocabulary and communication styles prevalent in the banking and finance industries. The ELT program will help you create a Canadian-style resume that highlights your abilities, experience, training, and education. The workshop also assists you with your job search by showing you how to look for career opportunities, as well as how to present yourself as the best applicant for the interview. This hands-on assistance can significantly improve your chances of finding a job in banking or finance. Networking is a very important part of the job market, including Canada. ELT programs introduce you to industry experts, mentors, professionals in your sector, allowing you to network and learn from their experiences. This exposure can develop a strong professional presence in Canada and open doors to new employment opportunities. Paid work placement opportunities are available through the ELT program, allowing you to get Canadian experience relevant to your profession. These opportunities not only strengthen your resume, but also allow you to put your skills to use and learn about the Canadian workplace culture. Where have Costy's ELT clients found employment? Participants in the ELT program have found employment in a number of banking and finance companies. Job developers provide one-on-one coaching and support to program participants, both during and after the program, to assist participants in finding jobs in their professions. Joining a nonprofit program such as Costy's Enhanced Language Training can be a stepping stone to a successful career in Canada. The program prepares you for success by providing you with language training, resume assistance, job search assistance, networking opportunities, and exposure to the Canadian workplace culture. So if you are an internationally experienced individual looking to start your career in the banking or financial sector in Ontario, please contact us. I'd like to express my sincere thanks to Gaurav, ELT job developer at Costi, for developing the content of this presentation. And if you have any questions about the program, please feel free to contact us. Thank you. So the presentation is concluded. So if anyone has any questions, we can start with the questions.
Hi, Miranda. Thanks so much.
Hi.
That was fantastic.
Thank you.
We just have a couple questions here. Ramya is just trying to unmute here, but the first one that we've gotten is, are these programs available online if you're currently outside of Ontario looking to come to Ontario?
Okay, so the program is available online, but you do need to be in the province of Ontario. So you can log on to the website. You can see the different programs that we do offer. But unfortunately, in order to register in the program, to be eligible to participate in the program, you must be living in the province of Ontario.
Okay, so that's the question that's coming up multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
How would they find programs in other provinces?
The best thing to do is I would go on to Google, and depending on which province the individual plans on settling in, is to see what programs are available specifically in that province.
Okay, so a question has come in. Well, it's pretty much the same thing. I plan to settle in Halifax. Are there agencies in Halifax?
I know that there are agencies in Halifax. There are. It's just a matter of going on to, I would do a Google search. Keyword search could be employment service, the word employment, the word agency. You can also type in newcomer or perhaps immigrant, job search. So using keywords to narrow down the businesses or the companies that will be generated through your Google search.
Okay, thank you. Do you offer any resume critiquing to help with my resume?
Yes. So through the program, through the Enhanced Language Training Program, part of the program is the job search component, which we call the pre-employment preparation component. And through the pre-employment preparation component, what we do is we provide job search workshops that will cover everything from labor market information to writing a resume. The component of the program, which consists of the resume writing, we actually spend, I would say, around anywhere between 5 to 6 days to help you to write your resume. So writing the resume would be identifying the keywords of your profession, finding a way of explaining those keywords through the resume. It is critiqued by your job developer, by your language instructor, so that the formatting is also reviewed. So yes, we do provide the critiquing service through the program as well.
Are these services provided online, the critiquing services, or in person?
Actually, we have both online as well as in-person services. So depending on where you live, if you live nearby, if you live close to our location, you can meet with your job developer in person, but we also provide it online. So whether it's through Zoom or Teams, you would be meeting one-on-one with your job developer, and they would be reviewing your resume for you.
Okay, so this is a specific question. Is this program available for CUAET?
Yes, it
which is
is.
the Ukrainian work permit visas with
100%. Actually, many of our students are from the Ukraine. So yes, we are accepting individuals. Yes.
Okay. I'm currently doing ELS training classes. So can I join this English class?
So the ESL language classes.
ESL.
ESL language classes, is this individual, it depends. So once again, we're looking at the status, depending on your status in Canada. So are you a permanent resident? Are you a convention refugee? Are you here on a minister's permit? So what we would do is, depending on if you're a Canadian citizen, unfortunately, you're not eligible for the program. So if you're saying ESL classes as opposed to link classes, then I'm going to just more than likely ask, can you ask the individual what their status is in Canada?
That information.
No
Okay,
problem.
so
Yeah,
I
we can ask
see
that.
Okay, so as long as the person, so basically the eligibility criteria, as long as the person meets the eligibility criteria, they can attend our program. We have students who attend the program. So the program is Monday to Friday from 9 o'clock until 3 o'clock. And what we do, we have individuals who, as they're in the program, they might be taking afternoon or evening, either ESL classes or link classes, and then attending the program during the day. So you can't be in two places at once. So,
right.
you know, it would be a matter of withdrawing from either your link class or your ESL class to attend the ELT program. So one thing to remember is that the acronym ELT stands for Enhanced Language Training Program. So part of the program is your 3 days of language instruction. So if people are worried about, I'm going to withdraw from my language program, I'm not going to get the language component that because I'm withdrawing from my ESL class or from my link class, don't worry, you will be getting the language component in the ELT program because it's part of our program. So the program is 5 days per week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. 1 day is occupation-specific language training. 3 days are enhanced language training, specifically focused on workplace business English. And then another day is the pre-employment preparation workshops. So the PEP workshops that assist with job search and resume writing and interview skills. We also have mock interviews that we provide our students with. We connect our students with mentors. So yeah, there's the program as a whole is to enhance the individual's language skills. So as they move into the workplace, they feel comfortable communicating with their coworkers, with supervisors in English. And then there's also the job search component.
Okay, great, thank you. And the other question, 1 second, let me just find this, is can you share the link to apply for this program?
Okay, so let me just go back to the slide. Share. So the best thing to do, so because we don't just have one ELT program, depending on what area of the Greater Toronto area that you live, we do have other ELT programs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share this slide with you. So you will see that there are different locations that offer the program. And at each location, there is a link as well as a phone number. So if you're planning on settling in the Brampton, Mississauga area, we do have 2 Brampton locations. If you're looking at Markham, we have a Markham location, 2 Richmond Hill, Newmarket, and Vaughan. The easiest thing to do is choose one of the email addresses, indicate that you are interested in joining the program. When we receive that email, what we generally ask you to do is complete some eligibility questions and then also to identify where you live. So based on the city that you live in or closest to the program that we offer, we will then refer you to that ELT program. We have had individuals in our program who are not living in the Greater Toronto area. We've had students who have joined the program from Ottawa, Kingston, Cambridge. So individuals are coming from outside of the Greater Toronto area. And those individuals usually participate, or generally they do participate in the online component, but we also offer in-class lessons as well. But again, you're looking at the location, what is closest to you. So if you're living in Brampton and you do not want to attend the program online, you may attend the program in person. But if you're living in Ottawa, and that's pretty far distance to travel every day, you would be basically online.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So I think that was the last question that came in. Folks, if you want to connect with Miranda, she has kindly shared the contact information for herself and her colleagues. So please send her and send the team a message.
What I can do is, if anybody wants to message me directly, my email address is miranda.boffo@costi.org. My phone number is here as well. Or you can also email my job developer, our job developer, at gaurav.vaid@costi.org. And we also have the 2 phone numbers if you want. And then also, if you want to connect with us on LinkedIn, please go ahead and connect with us as well. And whatever questions you have, we'll be gladly there to assist you in answering those questions.
Okay. And the other thing I know about your organization is you offer services in multiple languages.
That is correct. Yes, over 70 languages. So if there a question does come through and it's in a language that that I may not be able to understand or read, what we will do is we will ask one of our team members to assist with translating, and then that individual can also correspond with that person. Yeah, so absolutely no problem. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much. So we're wrapping up. Thank you, Miranda.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So I think this was a great presentation. This was a great session with a lot of great information. And as you've heard from our presenters, there are a lot of openings in Ontario, all over the country, and Canada is looking for talent. So I think it's taking the next step and being confident and applying for those positions, and branding yourself. We talk a lot about branding on our website, and Amit also spoke about confidence, the 50, 30, 20. I think that was a great formula that he shared. So I wish you all the best to our attendees. And thank you for attending the web conference series organized in partnership with Access Employment. This was our first one for the year. And a special thanks to our speakers, Cook, Sol, Amit, and Miranda, for joining us today and for sharing your skills and expertise with everyone. So once again, if you missed anything, this conference is being posted on our website and you can watch it there. And if you have questions, you can email us at info@canadianimmigrant.ca. So one last thing, our in-person fairs are back. As you know, we have fairs all across the country, and our next fair is going to be in Toronto on June 22nd. You can go to our website to see where the next fair is in a city near you or in the city that you live in. So thank you so much. And it's been a pleasure to have our speakers here. And we thank you for your expertise. Have a good day, everyone.